Well, what's happening, everybody? Good morning. Welcome into the Farzy Show. My name is Marc Farzetta here at the Steven Singer Studios. It's great to have you along for this fine program. Hugh Douglas III will be joining us coming up on this happy Hugh's Day morning. And here's a fun thing about Hugh Douglas. Yesterday was his birthday. Did I know that at the time when I did the show yesterday? No, totally forgot. I always remembered his birthday was late August. And the reason I remember his birthday was late August, and this is the only reason, was because Joe Banner once called when I was producing at WIP just to tell me to tell Hugh happy birthday. Literally the only reason I remember it's late August is because that man, Joe Banner, called backstage, if you will. Just tell Hugh I said happy birthday. All right, Joe. Sure. Sounds good there, Mr. Banner. So Hugh will join us coming up in just a couple of minutes to talk about all things preseason football and talk about all things his birthday, including, oddly, what his favorite birthday present was, quote unquote. Favorite birthday present was as a kid. I think we all have ours that we go back to in our minds. I'll talk about mine a little bit later. But I found that to be an interesting thing. What he tells me his favorite birthday present was, it was certainly something I would have never guessed in a million years. So we'll get to that conversation. I'll tell you what else we're going to get into today. We're going to get into some 76ers conversation, some Phillies conversation, and really, in all honesty, could Philadelphia sports had a better day off? I don't think so. When you think about two things. One, the Phillies pick up a game on the a half game on the Atlanta Braves because the Atlanta Braves lost their game last night to the Yankees, who have won 10 in a row now. Their win over the Braves last night is the Yankees' 10th win in a row. It nixes the opportunity for the Braves to say that they've won 10 in a row, so it halts their win streak at 9 games, and the Phillies, bottom line, pick up a half game, only 4.5 games out of first place now in the NL East before they start their 2-game series with the Tampa Bay Rays tonight at 7:05 at Citizens Bank Park. Ranger Suarez will get the start. So that was one good thing, and the Phillies didn't even have to do anything. They're the day off. They pick up a half game on the Braves. All right, good deal. The other good thing that happened in Philadelphia sports, and this was in the football world for the Philadelphia Eagles, and this happened literally as the Eagles were sleeping. I'll reveal what I'm talking about in just a minute, but here's what I got for you. Carson Wentz practiced with the team yesterday in Indianapolis. So the idea of the Eagles taking advantage of the Colts, getting him 70% of their snaps in a playoff berth, or 75% of the snaps for just Carson Wentz to play, the odds went heavily in the Eagles' favor yesterday with him practicing, saying afterwards he feels on pace to start week 1. All is right with the world. Now, what do I mean by the Eagles were actually sleeping? Well, I mean the Eagles were actually sleeping. Take a look at this yesterday. This is on the team bus going up to North Jersey for their practice with the Jets, their joint practice sessions leading up to Friday's preseason game. That's Greg Ward sleeping. That's Darius Slay taking a selfie with a sleeping Greg Ward, and Darius Slay, or just Slay as he likes to be called, loving every second of it. Oh, that's just one sleepy receiver, right? Well, how about this? How about a sleepy offensive lineman? Brandon Brooks nearly passed out on the team bus, and Fletcher Cox posting it to Instagram, to his Instagram story. And as you would assume, Brandon Brooks went ahead. Saying at the bottom there, he was in full REM cycle while all that was going on, and he looked like he was getting some good sleep in. So I went back and I watched some more of the press conferences because that's how I like to pass my time. I was watching Brandon Graham. I was watching more of Miles Sanders. I was watching some of these other guys that spoke yesterday. Harris was another one that addressed the media, and it was interesting. Brandon Graham talked about how sleepy everyone on the team was after the full week, including the preseason game. I know the jokes are there for, they were sleeping through that preseason game anyway. But apparently they were worn out. And Brandon Graham, of course, did not play against the Patriots, but they were worn out after their joint practice schedule with the New England Patriots. So now they're going to go have another week of joint practices, this time in North Jersey, before they kick off Friday in their preseason game against the New York Jets. So now we got another week of basically some sleepy Eagles play. The one guy I'm really looking forward to following throughout this week and culminating on Friday, really everything coming to a big push on Friday, is Jalen Hurts, and how Jalen Hurts is going to look throughout this week. After missing the preseason game, after having his stomach issues, I want to see how he bounces back this week and hopefully once again takes the reins that we saw him take in preseason game number 1. And one of the things I'm going to get into in my conversation with Hugh Douglas today is Jalen Hurts missing what will be exactly a month. I was talking about it yesterday, missing what? Almost a month. It's going to be exactly a month between snaps in a game for Jalen Hurts if he does not play on Friday. Now, I'm not expecting him to play a whole quarter, a whole half, whatever it might be. I would just like to see, like I said yesterday, see him get a couple of snaps here and there, maybe 2 series, 3 series, whatever it might be, just to get his feet a little bit more wet before the regular season starts, because I very much rather not having a month layoff between live in-game action for your starting quarterback, especially one that's going into his first season ever as your number 1 guy. That's just where I'm at with that, especially when it comes to building that chemistry, as I highlighted so many times over yesterday, with your wide receivers, with your offensive line. And here's the thing that you really got to keep in mind with Jalen Hurts and the way he plays. I've talked to enough offensive linemen over the years and this is, the reason I talk to so many about it, because I still can't believe it. You always think having a guy that's mobile and can scramble and can create almost makes the job easier for an offensive lineman, because they're not going to be racking up sacks on a guy who is eluding tacklers left and right, like a guy like Jalen Hurts can do. But it actually makes sometimes things a lot more difficult for an offensive lineman, because if you have a prototypical pocket passer, and Carson Wentz I would not even call a prototypical pocket passer, but when you have a quarterback that's a little bit more athletic, a little bit more faster, quicker, and all that stuff, more agile, like a guy like Jalen Hurts is, it sometimes hurts you as an offensive lineman because you don't know where that quarterback is going to be. Prototypical pocket passer, you know the area you have to block on the field to keep the defensive lineman away, or the blitzing linebacker or defensive back, whoever it might be, trying to get after the quarterback. You kind of know your area to block because you know where your quarterback is. If Jalen Hurts starts to default a little too much, like he did last year with not knowing a play, having to buy more time, if he starts to default to his legs or buying time or creating time, whatever you want to call it, then sometimes an offensive lineman isn't going to know where he's going to be on the field. If you help at least give them a little bit more experience with Jalen Hurts playing behind the starting offensive line, that can only help you going into the regular season. Give him a couple of snaps, give him a couple series, see how it goes, and then call it. But as long as he gets his feet a little bit more submerged underwater before the season starts, I'm fine with that. And as I said yesterday, and I'll say it again, as long as you have your offensive linemen in there, at least a couple of them to help protect them, that make me feel a little bit better. So that's where I'm at on that. But it was an exhausting week of practice by all accounts, and we'll see how this week goes up against the New York Jets. And I'll say this, I don't know if he's going to play in preseason game number 3, but I like what I've seen in the preseason from Zach Wilson so far. That kid can flat out play. I've really enjoyed watching him so far in the preseason, and I make sure I catch a little bit of every game just to see how guys are doing. Young Trey Lance being one of them, seeing these guys, see how they're playing and all that, just to keep an eye around the league and see how all these other guys are doing. Justin Fields has just been an absolute joy to watch, and he showed me something that I'm actually going to get into with Hugh Douglas. Justin Fields showed a lot of maturity. Wise beyond his years is how I'll refer to it. And it kind of reminded me of the story with Kenny Gainwell and Miles Sanders, where the two were talking right when Gainwell was drafted, and Gainwell, the rookie, told Miles Sanders, "Hey, we're only going to make each other better." And like that's a great thing for a rookie to come in and say. At the same time, it's a little bit of a wake-up call to a guy like Miles Sanders, who I don't think is threatened by any means. He's not having a good camp as far as that screen game that I was so excited about, because Miles Sanders is having a lot of difficulty catching the football out of the backfield, which is obviously a bit of an issue. Kenny Gainwell, not so much. He's catching everything thrown his way. So I love seeing that. But if you're Miles Sanders and you know another young buck's coming and you're a running back in the NFL and you know your shelf life is really short, it does raise your eyebrows a little bit to think, well, if he doesn't make me better, that means he's getting better, and that means he's getting better than me. So he'd be gaining on me, threatening to take some snaps, threatening to take his job down the line, that is. So all that has to be followed. Justin Fields showed me a lot of that same thing when Andy Dalton came out and said it was still his time to be the starting quarterback in the NFL. And not Justin Fields' time just yet. And then Andy Dalton got booed as he ran onto the football field in Chicago for their most recent preseason game. Justin Fields comes out afterwards saying, "Hey, Chicago, take it easy on Andy Dalton." So he takes the high road when it comes to the veteran quarterback saying it was still his time. That only makes me like Justin Fields even more. So we'll see how all that plays out. But I'd love to see how these young guys continue to play if they do play in the third preseason game. Jalen Hurts is the one guy that I'll flat out expect to play, being that he only has 2 series under his belt this preseason. And again, it's going to be a month between starts for him. I want to move along to basketball real quick, because this is something that I know a lot of people have talked about already, and you guys know my stance on this. I'm only showing you because it's out there. All right, that's the only reason I'm showing. But Ben Simmons worked out in the gym. As I'll say every time I'm about to show you a video of Ben Simmons working out in the gym. Every time. I'll tell you this. It shouldn't be breaking news that a professional athlete is working out. It should be breaking news if I'm working out, because I really don't work out. But when Ben Simmons works out, it becomes news. This is the latest video with Ben Simmons that came out over the weekend. Take a look. There it is. Look at him. He's so good at shooting three-pointers. So good at pulling up for a nice little mid-range jump shot there. Oh, look at him behind the back pass. So great. I think this is Tyrese Maxey, but I can't be sure. That looks like Tyrese Maxey that he was dumping the ball off to for a 3 behind him there. Good for Ben Simmons. He's working on his game, just like every professional athlete that wants to get better should do. This is the thing that hurts this argument the most, all right? When it comes to Ben Simmons improving, nobody cares about what he's doing at the gym, or people are joking about him doing at the YMCA, whatever it is. Like, no one gives a damn. When you choke in the playoffs the way Ben Simmons choked in the playoffs, and people see you going out there doing the same thing you've been doing over the last couple of years in the offseason, and you continuously do not bring that into your actual game, people don't care. It's only going to piss people off. And that, I don't think that was released by Ben Simmons. Ben has been posting pictures of him in the gym, not really him shooting, not really him even working out. Maybe him sweaty, maybe the more shirtless photos of him sweating and working out. Hey, good for you, Ben. But when it comes to everything else, they're being posted by his shooting coach, his trainer, Chris Johnson. It's still annoying. Simply because the only thing we flash to is the pass to Matisse Thybulle. That's the only thing we flash to. Good for you. Work out. That's what you should be doing. And the continued reports about how he'll hold out from the team if he's not traded just continue to piss me off. The reason I hope that is Tyrese Maxey working out with him, and I checked Tyrese Maxey's his social media accounts. He didn't have anything working out with Ben, so who knows. But when it comes to this particular thing, I want him to have a good relationship with his teammates, because I ultimately want Ben Simmons back, only because I don't think right now the Sixers are in a position to trade for Dame Lillard, who, as you guys know, is my only end-all, be-all conversation about slam dunk you're trading for Ben Simmons. Or you're trading for Dame Lillard, trading Ben Simmons away for Dame Lillard. It's the only slam dunk deal that's out there right now. I want him back. I want him improved. I want him to take that next step in his career. I want to at least give him the opportunity to do that. I want to give him the opportunity to bounce back after such a bad year. This is where I'll be all offseason with this. The reason being is because I believe he is that great a basketball player, and he could be even better. And the status I'll put him at always is a guy that could be an MVP, and a legit MVP conversation piece. If he develops that mid-range game, if he hits his free throws. That's where I've been on Ben Simmons for a long time. And I'd like to see it actually come to fruition. And for the people that say he can't come back from that, I urge you to go back and check the film and check the conversation about Donovan McNabb throwing up in the Super Bowl. He came back after that. He actually ended up leading the Eagles back to an NFC championship game after that. He ended up taking the Eagles to a few more playoff appearances after that as well. If he can come back from throwing up in a Super Bowl and 2 of his offensive linemen talking about that on a TV show, well, then guess what? And many people talking about it since, then I think Ben Simmons can come back from having a horrible playoff performance in the Eastern Conference semifinals against the Atlanta Hawks. I think he can come back from that. So we'll get into that conversation, obviously, a little bit later as well. And as the what do you call it? The offseason continues to roll on. We'll get into all that. Coming up in just a minute, we'll talk to our friend Hugh Douglas III on what was his birthday yesterday. So we'll get to that. I will tell you, I am flat out amped up again for the Phillies. They have the easiest schedule. This is the biggest feather in their cap. They got Rhys Hoskins back. Things are going in the right direction for the Phillies as far as what they have to offer the rest of the season. And that is the easiest schedule, a healthy lineup right now, Aaron Nola looking like old school Aaron Nola, like 2 years ago Aaron Nola. And they have a guy like Kyle Gibson as well. They got 3 guys and maybe 4 with the return of Zach Eflin, hopefully sooner rather than later. They got 3 guys, maybe 4 in this rotation that could put you in a winning spot every day with a healthy lineup, every 4 days at least with a healthy lineup against the easiest schedule in baseball. As the Braves go out to, they're facing the Yankees. They got another game with the Yankees. They got a 3-game set in LA with the Dodgers. Then they got a 4-game set in Colorado with the Rockies as well. That's a tough stretch there for the Atlanta Braves. So as things are getting harder for them, a long road trip as well, hopefully things get easier for the Phillies. At least that's the way it's looking right now on paper. Now go prove it on the field. Let me tell you about my good friend Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. All your big jewelry purchases, do what I do. Go to Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. The other corner of 8th and Walnut, right there in Center City, Philadelphia, right there at Jewelers Row. You walk in, you feel like $1 million just going in there. You're not going to have to feel like you're going to spend $1 million when you go in there because every day it's set at the perfect price. All their jewelry in the store set at the perfect price. You don't have to worry about negotiating. You don't have to worry about haggling, nothing like that. You know you're getting taken care of like family with the perfect price. I trust Steven Singer so much that I send my own family and friends there. I send you fine people there to Steven Singer Jewelers every day, the perfect price. And fast and free shipping always at IHateStevenSinger.com. That's right, fast and free shipping every day at IHateStevenSinger.com. Use the appointment scheduler online at IHateStevenSinger.com. Make yourself an appointment. And when you show up, a real jewelry expert will walk you through everything in the store, everything you want to see, looking to get engaged. They got Ready for Love diamond engagement rings. It's not just a clever name. They're ready for love right there for the taking. So make sure you take advantage of all that Steven Singer has to offer. The other corner of 8th and Walnut, IHateStevenSinger.com. Without further ado, let's talk to my good friend Hugh Lamont Douglas III on what was a wonderful birthday for him, joining us on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line. And joining us right now on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line, it's not just any Hugh's Day. It's a birthday Hughes Day. The man's birthday was Monday. Happy birthday, Hugh Lamont Douglas III, and welcome aboard. What's up, buddy?
Thank you very much there, Marc Farzy Jr.
Oh, that'll be the day. That'll be the day. What'd you get? You get any good presents for your birthday yet?
No, at this age, you don't get presents. You just get happy birthday wishes.
Wow.
Oh, you know what I did get? I got some cookies from Hella Chips. There's some cookies that I got from Hella Chips. They were phenomenal. They were like eclair cookies, little shortbread eclair cookies.
Ooh, very nice.
Ooh, they were good. They were pretty good.
Yeah, it's like I don't really celebrate my birthday. It's a weird thing about me. I just don't like to celebrate. But like, I don't mind a present.
No, I mean, but it's like, when you get older and your dad, you'll get a couple ties. You got some ties lined up in your life. You're definitely gonna get a few ties. You know what some of the best gifts are though, Marc?
What's that?
Like I got a sculpture from my son that he gave me when he was like probably 5 or 6 years old. And it was me. And I still have it to this day. It was me and him. I guess I was holding him, but for whatever reason, he made me with dreadlocks. And I'm like, I don't know how you see me, but I ain't never had dreadlocks. I mean, I am your father. What are you trying to tell me something? Like, it was weird, but I still have that to this day. And every card that they've given me when they were younger, I have it in a box. Those are the things, man, because when you look back on them, you'll be like, man, like that's the stuff that means the most to you. You know what I mean?
Beautiful.
It's little cards and stuff where they draw, where they can't spell their little names, and they write, hey, Dad, da-da-da-da-da, you're the, stuff like that. You remember stuff like that. That's the stuff that you appreciate. And today,
that's awesome.
Since my son was in school, I got a phone call and we just talked for about 10 minutes, just talked about school and he was telling me that, the washer's always broken. The dryer's broken at school. And I was like, dude, you better get you a piece of wire and hang those clothes across your bed or something and let them drip dry. I'm like, you better figure it out. You got to figure it out, man. You got to figure it out.
Here's the idea. Where's he at? Morehead State?
Morehouse, yeah.
Morehouse. He's got to hook up with somebody in the next balcony or something, and they got to run an old school line from building to building.
He's on the first floor, so it's kind of hard to do that. I told him get how one of those portable things where you just pop it up and you just hang your clothes right there and sit it in the middle of the room. And, dude, just let them drip dry. You got to do what you got to do in college. You got to do what you got to do.
I honestly used a hairdryer one time.
Man, listen. By hook or by crook, to this day, I didn't have money to dry clothes. To this day, Marc Farzetta, I still drip dry my T-shirts. To this day. To this day. And that's something that I picked up in school. To this day, I still do that.
Well, I mean, yes, I would do that. I would also go home a lot to do laundry. But on the occasion that I didn't wash a shirt and I waited to the last second to wash it, I would take it out of the washer, and then I would just be. You do what you. Hey, you got to be at that party, man, and you ain't gonna wear that same ratty shirt you've been wearing. You got to wear something new.
You know what? The funny thing about him being in school, he has to wash a lot of clothes. They got to get dressed up a lot.
Oh yeah.
Always in suit and ties.
Yeah.
So it's like, dude, you better find somebody. You better get to the cleaners. You better figure it out, brother. You got to figure it out.
I got a couple of things I need to run by you when it comes to this Eagles season and who's going to play on Friday night against the Jets in their final preseason game and all that stuff. But real quick, can you go back to your own childhood and tell me what your best and most favorite childhood birthday present was?
It was always the cake. It was always the cake.
The cake. The cake's not a present. The cake is you always get cake.
It's a gift because let me tell you why. Because after a while, when you get a certain age, they stop giving you a gift with cake. So that's why it was so important. Is because when you're younger, you would get the cake with the little car on it or whatever. And you get to play with the toys or whatever.
Right.
That was a big deal. That was a big deal for me back in the day.
No, you never got like a G.I. Joe or something, a comic book?
I remember, like, from my childhood, I remember the cake because that was probably the last one that I got. And then after that, you were like, I had that dad where you're a man now, son. I'm like, man, wait a minute.
No more cake. This is
no more cake for you, brother.
Man.
It's time to grow up.
Wow. Hugh Douglas 1 and 2. Those guys were sticklers. They're not the fun-loving Hugh Douglas III that I know.
Yeah.
God bless him, by the way. God bless him.
Yeah.
I was going over this press conference from actually 2 days ago. Miles Sanders was giving a press conference, and he was talking about Kenny Gainwell, their 5th-round pick out of Memphis. Rookie. Seems like a really talented running back. He's exactly what you would want. He's a speedy, shifty, good pass-catching running back that they got in the 5th round. So he seems like a guy that I think is going to play pretty well. But and he's turning some heads at training camp. But this caught my attention. Miles Sanders said that they were texting around the draft, right when he got picked. And Kenny Gainwell told Miles Sanders already, now going into his 4th season in the NFL, 3rd season in the NFL.
Booby, you want to win? Put Booby in.
Hey, I'm all about Booby. You know me. But when it comes to this conversation, Gainwell supposedly told Miles Sanders, we're only going to make each other better. And I thought to myself, that kid's wise beyond his years. Like, first off, your reaction to that, and has anybody jumped to mind a younger player that came to the Eagles while you were there that sort of was wise beyond their years?
To me, that kind of screams when I listen to it and you put it in context for me a little bit. It says that, I'm trying to take your job. I mean, because that's basically what it is. He's trying to take his job, but he's trying to be respectful about it. Listen, the kid's hungry, and you have to like that. You have to love the fact that the kid is hungry. Now it's on Miles Sanders to make sure that he does everything that he possibly can to keep that young man in a position where he can't take his job. Mm-hmm. But you have to respect him coming in and saying that they're going to make each other better, because it's the truth. Because you're going against each other every day, and you're fighting for the same position. You're fighting to be seen. You're fighting for reps. I mean, it sounds to me like a kid that gets it. The closest thing that I can think to that is when Trey came into the league. Trey came in from Florida State. I think that was my first year was here in Philadelphia. It was like my first year, Ray Rhodes year.
Okay.
And I remember Trey coming in, and he was the highly talented offensive lineman because we had issues at that position. So Trey comes in, the 1st-round draft pick. Trey comes in with a chip on his shoulder, because I remember we did one-on-ones, and I remember the first one-on-one that we did, Trey got the best of me. He said something to me like, yeah, it's going to be like that all the time or something like that. And I was like, okay, let's go to work then. Mm-hmm. Let's go to work. And we used to go at it in practice early on. And I remember him saying, hey, man, iron sharpens iron. And I never forgot that. And so that's what I could compare that to. Because going against Trey every day, I look at other offensive linemen when I played against them, I'm like, boy, this is gonna be a cakewalk. Because I'm used to going up against this behemoth of a man every day. Because you talk about Trey was like, it had a lot of mouth. Like Trey liked to talk in practice. Trey would talk trash, and he was big and he was physical. So it just made me want to play physical. So when I played against somebody that was like that, I just put Trey Thomas' face on him and tried to beat him like a drum. No, but I get that because he's telling the truth. He's trying to make his name, and he's going against another good running back. So hey, you gotta let him know, hey man, if I catch you slipping, I'm gonna take your spot. So he's gonna make it better because that means every morning you wake up, you got to bring your A game.
Yeah, I had a similar thought in that it almost sounds threatening. Like along the lines of what you're saying, it almost sounds like in the best possible sportsman's way to threaten. Yeah. That's the way to threaten. Like, hey, we're gonna make each other better, or I'm just gonna pass you. Like that's basically what he's saying.
Listen, let me tell you. When they drafted Derek Burgess, I'll never forget it. We drafted Derek Burgess from Ole Miss, and Andy Reid called me, and he said, hey, we're drafting D Bird. It's no way in shape or reflect on you, yada, yada, yada. I'm thinking to myself, Coach, that's BS. That's straight BS. Mm-hmm. You draft, look at Derek Burgess and look at me.
Right.
I mean, we're kind of mirror images of each other, the same size, the same type of player, play the same position. And I knew he was coming to take my job. And I did everything in my power to help Derek Burgess along as much as I possibly could, but I was not about to let Derek play. I remember it would be times where we'd be in a game and they'll say, hey, Hugh, you want to take a breather? And I look at the sideline and I see Derek and I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'm not about to let him show what he could do because I knew he could play. So I was like, I'm not about to give him an opportunity.
Right. So
it was on me. Like I knew he was there to replace me, but it was on me to make sure that I didn't give him the rope to hang me with, you know what I mean? So I had to stay on my A game all the time, had to worked out a little bit harder every day, went through one-on-ones and pushed a little bit harder because I knew he was coming. And when he got his opportunity, you see what happened. Mm-hmm. So, it's one of those things, man, you respect it because that's a part of the game, but at the same time, you do everything in your power to make sure that the guy behind you doesn't get a chance to shine.
Wow. Well, I remember that whole process, and I remember people thinking that Derek Burgess was really talented, but not getting an opportunity. Now I know why. Yeah. But then he goes out to Oakland and has a 15, 16. Yeah. Yeah. By the way, wasn't Derek Burgess was he the one that didn't buy the chicken on the plane?
Did not buy the chicken. Derek Burgess did not buy the chicken. But Derek Burgess, but you know what? To this day, I speak to him every now and then. I haven't talked to him in a couple of weeks, but he understood that. He was like, damn, I see now why you didn't want me to play. Because it was like, hell, you don't want I was like, hell no, I didn't want you to play. Because I knew what you could do. But by seeing me, it made him a better player. And he went out there and he did his thing. And that's how it goes, man. Same thing with Trent Cole. Only difference is with Trent Cole, I couldn't stop him. I couldn't fight him off. It was a wrap, so I had to let it go.
I was going to say, wasn't that eventually your former ball boy that came up and took your job?
That was Trent. Yeah, it was Trent. But you know what, man? That's the game, man.
Right.
You come into the NFL knowing that, and you have to know this, Mark, they're always looking to replace you. Regardless of what they say, regardless of what position you're in, you're always looking to be replaced. Carson Wentz, Jalen Hurts, and who's next? Because when you think about it, the conversation just switched from, well, we don't know who our quarterback. We don't know who our quarterback. I don't know who our quarterback is. To Jalen Hurts is our quarterback. I mean, you got to listen to what's being said. Like you always sometimes you got to put your fandom aside and listen to what the organization is trying to tell you. When you ask those pointed questions with Les Bourne and all those other reporters go in the room and they ask questions and you hear, well, we don't know yet. We're still evaluating. Read between the lines, man, because they don't want to be known as liars.
Right. Of course not.
You know what I mean? Nobody wants to be called a liar. So they'll say, well, we're still evaluating the position and da-da-da-da.
Mm-hmm.
And then you ask Jalen, so what's going on? Well, I just got to do what I got to do. I mean, which is true.
The rent's due every day.
Yeah, every day. So, man, I'm telling you, when he said that, that's all he's saying is like, listen, I'm coming for your spot. So you better be ready to go every day that you get up. And that's what it is, man. That's the beautiful part about this game is that it's like that every year. Every year. Brandon Graham going through it now. He's the OG, and he's doing everything in his power to stay and maintain because them young Thundercats coming. They coming every year, and they coming for your spot. That's how it works.
Mm-hmm. You ain't kidding, man. Speaking of Jalen Hurts, though, there's some conversation right now in Philadelphia about whether or not he is going to start, whether or not he's going to play at all on Friday against the Jets. I want him to play. He obviously missed the middle game in the preseason because he had a stomach infection, according to Nick Sirianni. He had to get taken to the hospital, got released, had to stay home a couple days to rest. He was back in practice 2 days ago now and was slinging it. Apparently looked really good, even was rolling out of the pocket, that whole thing. I still want him to play before they start the regular season because from the time he played 2 series in the first preseason game, week 1, against the Steelers, and the time the season kicks off, it'll be a full month of not seeing game action. So I would like him to play. Where do you stand on playing this third and final preseason game if you're Jalen Hurts, if you're Nick Sirianni and the Philadelphia Eagles?
You know what? The funny thing about this, Mark, we showed last year that preseason didn't really mean a whole lot. So I think that they're actually going off of that. And then you got to think that the schedule is a lot different than it has been in the past. Because I do believe everybody has after this third preseason game, you still had 2 weeks before the season. Yeah. You got 2 weeks before you come down here and play the Atlanta Falcons. So with that being said, it's highly possible that you can play this Thursday or whenever you guys play because the
Friday,
the Falcons play Sunday. So it's possible that you can go and play, say, like the normal third preseason game, or was it the second preseason game where the starters play the most? And then, at halftime, you can put in the younger cats or whatever and still get the valid work in. But you got to think a lot has happened this year where they've had those joint practices, which they probably put more weight on than they do the actual preseason games. Because if you look at that preseason game that the Falcons had, the Eagles had against the Patriots, but you look at the practices, I think the practices went a lot better than the actual game did. Mm-hmm. So, and the same thing with the Atlanta Falcons. The practices, we were hearing that they had great practices, but you look at the game and Tua Tagovailoa is starting and he's slanging the ball all over the schoolyard. So I think that in this third game, because Matt Ryan hasn't played in any, you're going to see the ones go. You're going to see them get a little bit more continuity. Probably say the same thing in Philadelphia. Play.
I hope so.
Play until a half, and then let everybody, try to get everybody healthy. Because I think the biggest thing right now is, Mark, really nobody cares about the preseason. They just want guys to get healthy.
Right.
Down here, A.J. McCarron gets hurt. Now there's speculation on whether or not they're going to go out, the Falcons, and get another quarterback. Or if they go with Felipe Franks, and let him be the backup to Matt Ryan. I don't think that's going to be the case, but you just never know. So you still have time. So he can go out there and play if you want to see him and still get ready for the season because you still got 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is odd. Like, I never thought you would ever put more emphasis on any practice more than you would put on any type of game. And here we are saying the exact opposite. And there's really no counter argument when you're talking about a 35-0 a preseason win for the Patriots over the Eagles.
Everything has changed. Think about the way that players are evaluated now. Think about, say, for instance, back when I played. You had like 3 or 4 OTAs that you had. You had a whole month of training camp that you would go through. You had 4 preseason games.
At Lehigh.
Before all of that, you had like 3 or 4 OTAs. How many do they have this year? None.
Yeah, hardly. Well, they had them without any type of hitting whatsoever. Like most of them were classroom work.
Think about this: the game has evolved so much to the point that guys are being evaluated from their classroom work, from the mental errors that they make, and from the practices that they have when they don't have on pads. Like you evaluate players totally different. Say, for instance, like I was known as not the greatest practice player in the world. Think about if I played in this era, how potentially that could affect me as a player.
In this era, you'd be a great practice player.
No, well, in this era, but the mental, like say if I made a lot of mental mistakes, probably couldn't get on the field.
Oh, good point. Yeah.
You know what I mean? If I was a guy who liked to freelance a little bit, who Jim Johnson allowed to freelance, but just think if I had a coach that really wanted his defense, was a stickler, because that's the only way he could evaluate, was he wanted his defense ran a certain way. And I was out there, I could play, but I was kind of freelancing, doing my own thing. That could potentially get me cut. That could potentially get me put on the bench. So, it's a different way that you have to evaluate players now. You have to take, every time you step out there on that field as a player, you have to realize that you're being evaluated. So you have to take advantage of every rep that you get. If it's a classroom rep, if it's an actual field rep, whatever it is, and you can't make that many mental mistakes, because another thing that I've noticed that teams are starting to do now, when they talk about players grade, you're being graded the whole year. Because I think one stat where they jumped out to me, they said that Brandon Graham was one of the highest. He graded out one at the highest at the defensive end spot. Oh no, at the defensive lineman spot.
Yeah, I think he was the highest graded Eagle last year.
Oh well, see, that's what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I've never known that to be a situation.
Right.
I've never known that stat to be thrown out there when I played. I don't know how much emphasis was put on that or anything like that, but it was never something that he graded out higher than anybody else. So that to me says that talks about in-game assignments, that talks about practice assignments and things of that nature. So you're being evaluated every day, like every day. So it's changed. It's changed. And so this is what the game is now. Preseason means more to us fans than it does to actual coaching, because the coaches are there every day.
Now, what I remember about the Andy Reid era was it was almost like preseason. You could set your watch to it. It was, McNabb and starters were going to be playing for like maybe the first quarter. And then the next game 2, you'd play the first quarter, the entire first quarter, some of the second. And then the third game, it was like 3 quarters, dress rehearsal for the season. And then the fourth game was, all right, let's see who's going to make the roster.
Yeah.
Was that a better way to do it? And I know it's only 3 games now. Was that a better way to do it? Or do you think that guys just need to play less and just concentrate on being healthy for the season?
I think it's not necessarily a better way, I would say. I think that was just the way it was done back then.
Okay.
Because when you look at, and some might argue this, you look at the quality of the game now, you look at the quality of the game last year with no preseasons.
Yeah.
And I don't recall anybody complaining about, it looks sloppy. Well, it looked sloppy in the beginning, but as the season progressed, it got better.
Yeah, I still got to watch 4 months I got to watch 4 weeks of poor tackling.
Yeah, but it's gotten better. And if you want to be honest, Mark, they've been complaining about tackling for like the last, 10 years?
Yeah.
It's been a conversation that has been going on for the last 10 years.
Since the last CBA.
Yeah, and so teams are trying to figure out ways to make it better. But until then, I mean, what does it affect? Have you stopped watching football?
Oh, no, God, no. I have not stopped watching football.
And I can't remember the last time that a person that we were sitting at any watering hole watching the game would say, you know what? Well, yes, I can. When somebody say, that was a piss poor tackling. That only happens when your team doesn't tackle and he makes it into the end zone. But for the most part, the product is still doing well. So it's one of those things where the game has just evolved to this point, in my opinion. That's what it is what it is now.
I want to ask you this real quick, because I had the opportunity to talk to Lane Johnson after the 35-0 loss to the Patriots. And I said, Lane, as a fan or media, anyone who's invested emotionally into this team, you look up and you see 35-0 and you think, damn, that sucks. Now, that's the way some fans might feel. But as a player, do you just chalk it up to, it's only the preseason, it's only practice? Like, how do you react to it? And he said he was flat out pissed. Like he said, you never want to look up there, regardless of what game, what atmosphere, and see 35-0. Would that get to you, Hugh Douglas? Would that get to your teammates, 35-0, albeit the preseason?
You know, it's funny. It's funny that you asked me that question, because I had to think about that a couple of days ago when I was watching the Atlanta Falcons and the Miami Dolphins play. Because when the game started, the Falcons started their twos defensively. So the Miami Dolphins came out there with they started the game with Tua Tagovailoa. And then when you look at some of the stuff that was happening during the week of practice, it was a teeter-totter battle where, for the most part, the Atlanta ones defensively got the better of Miami's offensive line. Now, Miami offensive line is a sieve right now. So to make a long story short, watching that game, knowing what I knew about that Miami Dolphins offensive line, going against the Falcons twos and the way that they play, they marched down the field methodically. And I looked at that and I was like, they had to get that. They had to have that, because for them to win that game, that was a confidence builder for their offense going into the season. Playing their quarterback, Tua Tagovailoa, letting them get those reps, letting that offensive line get that rep, letting the ones run, because they need that continuity. On the flip side, you look at the Atlanta Falcons defensive line. They made a lot of mistakes. Ogundeji, the young defensive lineman, he lost container quite a bit out there, but it's a learning experience. So you just have to look at it as a learning experience. Nobody wants to look up at the end of the day and see a 35 burger hung on you. Nobody wants to see that, and you didn't score. But At the same time, you have to be realistic about it. Did you game plan for the New England Patriots? You didn't.
No. It's preseason. That's where it is preseason.
So, are there some things that you should be concerned with offensively? Yes. The quarterback that you're expecting to be your starter had the bubble guts and had to go to the hospital. So that's what you take away from that. Now, I know that's all hard to digest, because as a fan, you ain't trying to hit none of that. You want to see what your quarterback looks like. You want to see what this offense is going to be. Hell, you want to see how dynamic this defense is going to look. But you have to understand, it's the preseason, and there's a lot more that goes into football than what we see, than the finished product that we see. When you talk about individual play and all that other stuff, I played with Hank Fraley. You remember Honey Bun?
Of course.
And when you look across that offensive line that Honey Bun played with, he was by far the weakest link. But Honey Bun was able to hold his own because those other guys uplifted him. You get my point? So It's one of those things where you can look at individual play, but I don't think you can really grasp what the offense is going to be or the defense, because you're not seeing the finished whole product. So that's what it is in preseason. It's not the finished product. You're trying to figure out who can play individually at that point. So then you can plug and play and put people in different positions in order for them to be successful. It's not the finished thing.
That concludes our football conversation. Now I'm going to get to where you're a real expert, baseball. Have I ever told you that I hate the Atlanta Braves?
No, especially by now. You know what, Mark?
Come on. Lose some damn games.
It's funny. And tonight, yesterday, they were playing the New York Yankees.
It's 1-1 right now at the time we tape this in the fourth inning.
Yeah. And the Yankees are on somewhat of a winning streak, a little bit of a winning streak right now. And the Braves are playing well. This is the football marathon for me. The Braves took advantage of a softer part of their schedule to get their confidence back, to get healthy, and now they're rolling. But like I said last week, Mark, and I don't think I said it to you, but I know I definitely said it on the 92.9 The Game show in the morning with me and my man John Freaking, shameless plug. But I said it. I said at the end of when it's all said and done, the race is going to come down to the Phillies and the Braves. It is. It's going to come down to the Phillies and the Braves, because the Mets, they're out of it. But the Phillies, I think that it's the funny thing about baseball is you get hot at the right time. Anything is possible. We got 40-some odd games left. That's a lot of baseball left to play. And on top of that, in these 40 games, I think for the most part, the Braves on the West Coast, they're away.
They got a long road trip, including the Dodgers, I think the who the hell is it? The Rockies.
Yeah. So they got a long road trip coming up. Mm-hmm. So it's one of those things, man. It's gonna come down to the wire. It's gonna be the Phillies and the Braves, and I'm gonna sit there with a half shirt. It's gonna have an A on one side, and it's gonna have a P on the other. And whatever state that I'm in at the time, that's the shirt that I'm gonna wear. So when I come on this show with you, I have on my Phillies gear. But when I take it off, I'm gonna wear that A again.
You still have an Eagles helmet somewhere?
Oh, I do. Well,
all right, just wear the Eagles helmet and you can wear the Braves shirt. That we'll get the idea.
I'll do that. I can do that. I can that off.
Here you go. You got after New York, you got the 2-game series with New York, which hopefully the Braves lost at the time we air this. Then 3 games hosting the Giants, which is an amazing, great baseball team. And then 3 at LA, 4 at Colorado.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
So
there you go.
That should be pretty interesting.
You're damn right. Hey, any other birthday plans?
No, I'll probably just finish watching the game and couldn't really get drunk because I got to go to work in the morning. So maybe get drunk this weekend. So it's my birthday week, so I can still get a little drunk.
The whole week. The whole week.
But 6 o'clock come quick, so I can't tie one on.
Don't I know it? Hugh Lamont Douglas III, happy birthday to you, my friend. And more importantly, even more so than that, happy Hughes Day.
Thanks, my brother. Appreciate you.
The great Hugh Douglas joining us on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line. Thanks, Hugh.
Not a problem. Deuces.
Deuces. I've never heard anyone say that their birthday cake was the best birthday present. Like, I was literally expecting a comic book, because he's always been a big comic book guy, graphic novel, Miss Guzzi. And I've never heard anyone say, oh, the birthday cake. I will say I always looked forward to my birthday cake. I always wanted ice cream. I always wanted an ice cream cake. That was it for me. Ice cream cake. What kind of cake you want, Marc? Ice cream cake. That's it. Because I just like if I could always do 2 birds, 1 stone. I was all about efficiency when it came to my fatness as a child. Why eat 2 things when I can eat 1? And it's even worse, actually. And yeah, I'm not a big, I saw somebody saying in the comments, yeah, I just don't celebrate my birthday. I don't, whatever. It's just not, I don't know. I think it's weird. But if you celebrate yours, and you should celebrate yours, good for you. But anyway, the other thing there was Derek Burgess. Derek Burgess was here for 4 seasons. He played 3 of them. I believe it was an Achilles injury that he had when he was here in Philadelphia. And I think he had 6 sacks his rookie year. Like, he kind of burst onto the scene. And then I remember his first year, as I mentioned, going out to, and just for the other people, the Braves did lose. I'll say that. I'll reiterate that. The Braves did lose. He goes to Oakland and has a 16-sack season. And everyone's like, oh, of course, Derek Burgess. Oh, we all like Derek Burgess. Andy Reid didn't let him play. Well, Andy Reid didn't let him play because you didn't let him play, apparently. But the number one, the number one takeaway from Derek Burgess' time in Philadelphia was the chicken story. And if you don't know the chicken story, if you've heard me tell it before, I'll just tell it real quick. Basically, as a rookie, you got to buy the chicken for the flight. You got to stop by KFC, and you got to maybe now it's Chick-fil-A, but you had to stop by KFC and bring a couple of buckets of chicken for people. Like, as the rookie, you had to feed the vets. So anyway, Derek Burgess is like, yeah, I'll get that chicken. So Derek Burgess goes and gets a 2-piece, and he's late for the plane, arrives on the plane, sits down, cracks open his 2-piece, and everyone's like, hey man, give me my chicken. And he's like, nah, man, this is me. This is mine. And he just ate his chicken in front of the vets as if to taunt them. Pretty ballsy move by a rookie. But anyway, he goes out to Oakland, has himself one hell of a season. 16 sacks. The other thing that stuck out to me from that is just the overall competitiveness. The overall competitiveness of any athlete at any point, whether that's a position battle like Hugh versus Trey, as we've talked about a couple of different times now, whether that's Gainwell versus Sanders, whatever it is, or whether that's a preseason game that Lane Johnson doesn't even play in, but yet it still pisses him off to look up their scoreboard and see 35-0. That can never be a good feeling. And you can never really underestimate. I know a lot of times in sports, we always talk about the money these guys make. He doesn't care. Look at the money he's making. And a lot of times that's wrong. More often than I think people want to admit to themselves about how much these guys want to compete. Does it help comfort them after they lose, the fact that the check is cleared? I'm sure it does. However, in the heat of the moment, that I'm sure bothers the hell out of people. And I think a lot of people don't give athletes that credit. And I think that's a little on the unfair side. But my thanks to Hugh for jumping on the line there and talking all things Eagles with us, enjoying hopefully what comes here. And I like the fact that he wants Jalen Hurts to play because he too wants them to avoid that month layoff between his last in-game live action and the start of the season when they're on the road in Atlanta. So thanks to Hugh for joining us there on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line. And by the way, speaking of Rothman, producer Jim and I were on the scene yesterday down Egg Harbor Township at the Rothman Orthopaedics site, and we were shooting some video with two great doctors, Dr. TJ, Dr. Tucker. Our friends Christy and Alex set us up with that. It was a great time. We're going to debut a great feature on this show, and we're going to debut an injury glossary, essentially, as described, not by me, but by the great doctors of Rothman Orthopaedics, so that when something does happen with any athlete in Philadelphia, we can give you a quick elevator pitch on what that injury is, how it happens, how they treat it, and how long a person could be out. Generally speaking, when an injury such as a torn Achilles, a torn ACL, MCL, whatever it might be, we can have a glossary to go to, brought to you by the great people of Rothman Orthopaedics right here on this show, so that we have a medical expert on tap to talk about injuries on this program. Look forward to debuting that as the football season gets underway, and basketball and hockey, and obviously baseball goes on as well. But let me tell you about Rothman Orthopaedics. As I mentioned, I'm going to have to go there for my bum shoulder eventually. Yeah, the old throwing arm there. It wasn't because of really anything during organized sports. Separated it supposedly while playing tackle football with some friends while taking a break from working on a radio project in college, which was fun. But anyway, I'm going to go see the Rothman Orthopaedics doctors because you know why? They're the best. If you have an orthopedic issue, you need a physician who eats, sleeps, breathes, and just knows how to handle orthopedics. And that's a Rothman Orthopaedics physician. My wife went there for a foot, and they took great care of her. They not only specialize in orthopedics, but each of their physicians only focuses in on one area of the body, which means you can have the confidence to get past the pain and be what you were. Learn more at RothmanOrtho.com. That's RothmanOrtho.com. Rothman Orthopaedics, the official orthopedic partner of your Phillies, Eagles, and 76ers. How about Steak and Maine? My man Tony Cavada posting all these great photos from Steak and Maine. Check it out, steakandmaine.com. Also follow him on all social media sites. Anthony Cavada, Steak and Maine. Make sure you check him out. Steak and Maine in the heart of Northeast Maryland, voted #1 place for steaks in America by the Travel Channel and the Cooking Channel. Check them out for yourself at steakandmaine.com. Northeast Maryland, whether you like to dine in their more upscale steakhouse, their casual bar, or their patio, you'll enjoy the highest quality of prime meats, fresh seafood, and world-class oyster bar with freshly prepared sushi. All that with an extensive wine list, including their own Cavada Cellars wines. You know me. This is what you got. 2-pound tomahawk steak, Pinot Noir, Cavada Cellars Wines, Pinot Noir. Enjoy yourself, ladies and gentlemen. Open every day for lunch, dinner, and Sunday brunch, steakandmaine.com. And hopefully you're continuing to follow all the great stories across the Philadelphia sports landscape on phlsportsnation.com. That's phlsportsnation.com, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across social media and blogs as well. Let's jump into our social media check-in, brought to you by Steak and Maine and steakandmaine.com. Then we got our morning rush brought to you by Sky Motor Cars coming up in just a second. Let's run on through. I saw the suggestions. I do want to get the Trayon. We're going to get Trayon. It's going to happen. I was texting with him yesterday again. What else do we have? Hollis will be on again. We'll get Hollis on again. We'll have our fun. Here's what else we got. Let's see here. Good morning. Happy Hughes Day. What's up, Sean, Mally, Doobie, Mark, PJ, and Animal Sealski. You know, it's been a while.
Dan and everybody in the chat, I am not an animal.
There you go. There you go. It's been a while since we've done that. What's up, April, Mally, everybody checking in. Dak, what's up, Dak NJ? Good morning. Phillies didn't lose. This is a good day for us. Mally, Phillies played the best game of the season yesterday. Picking up a half game without playing. Well, that's nice. Always reason to celebrate, Dak. You're absolutely right. Love Impractical Jokers. Sean says, I love Impractical Jokers. I'm seeing Sal tonight, actually in Royersford. There we go. All right. A little typo, or not typo. I'm sure it was autocorrect. I have only seen Impractical Jokers a couple of times. I do appreciate the comedy. I do appreciate the humor. And one of my favorite things that I've seen out there on social media is the meme that was made with the three guys from Impractical Jokers, and like the top of the meme, and on the bottom of the meme, it's Joe Girardi. And it's the guys on the top being, okay, now get swept by the Diamondbacks. And I'm like, that's pretty good. Actually pretty good. I like that. Excited. Dan saying is excited for the playoffs. Doesn't mean I consider the season to be a success. And after 3 years with the core, I feel we should just expect a little more. I absolutely agree. Sal is also saying that he loves Impractical Jokers. What else do we have? Sal, good morning to you as well. Hagen Malley. Sal, where's the screen game? Screen game's been lacking. Nothing better than a Red October. Dak, I 100% agree with that. Gabe's back. What's up, Gabe? Morning to you as well. Oh man, I think it was Dak that had an interesting. Oh, no to Ben working out. I agree. I mean, I have to show you just so we know. Do not get rid of Maxey in a trade. The kid is going to be really good. It'd be a mistake. I agree with you, Ray. But if you can get me Dame Lillard right now with Joel Embiid, prime Joel Embiid, I love you, Maxey, but deuces. McNabb threw a touchdown then on the next play. Yes, he absolutely did. They still lost, and that the final drive dragged ass. 6 minutes. No, thank you. And then, like I said, it still came back even. What strain am I on? Come on, Mally. Doesn't matter in the playoffs. You see, you got beaten. Well, yeah, right. But still, I want to see playoff baseball. Doesn't matter in the playoffs. Do you see them beating the Dodgers, Milwaukee, or San Francisco? No, I do not. But as they say, get to the playoffs and anything can happen. You just don't know. Hey, you don't know. Maybe the Phillies will be like the St. Louis Cardinals were when the Phillies let the Cardinals into the playoffs when they beat the Atlanta Braves in the last 2 games of the season to get the 102 wins on the season, I think it was, to set the new record. So, yeah, you don't know. Maybe the Phillies will be the hot team. Dak is pointing out, this is what I was looking for. Dak's pointing out, Mark, you forgot to mention the holes in left field, center field, third, short, and the bullpen. Here's the thing. Odubel Herrera's been hitting lately, and your 1 through 5 in your lineup can get you through to the playoffs. I'm not betting on it. I'm certainly rooting for it. And if the Phillies 1 through 5 plays to their potential, and if the Phillies 1 through 4 in the rotation, including Zach Eflin coming back, does their job, then good things are going to happen for this team. And again, it all comes down to their strength of schedule being porous. Well, good. It's great for them. It's bad for the Braves. It's bad by any other standard in Major League Baseball. But all those things combined, yeah, you can make a playoff push. All I'm saying is hope is still very much alive for the Phillies. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying they should. I'm not saying they will. I'm certainly not even betting on them to do it. All I'm saying is they have kept hope alive at least. Now, my hope is still alive with the Phillies. I'm not sticking a fork in them just yet. And as we were talking about the other day, 17 games to play, down 7 games. They did it back in 2007, but they did it. We've seen weirder things. Dan's asking where Benny is. I don't know where Benny is, and I'm always worried. April's checking in again. April, I hope your young lady did great at school. I hope she did great at school, middle school yesterday. I hope everything went well there. Brody's checking in. What's up, Broads? What's up, homie? Marc with a hairdryer. That's hilarious. A few of you commented on that. Drying off my clothes in college. I swear I only did it a couple of times. But you know that, like, we had a row home in West Philly, 38 in Hamilton, when I was my first year at Temple. Me and 5 of my buddies, and then because that was the only place we could get a house for like a decent cost for like 5. At the time it was 6 guys, and then it ended up being it was 6 guys, and then it ended up being only 5 of us, 4 of my buddies then. So every once in a while the dryer would just not work, and I'd literally be I had hair in college, and I'd be I forgot to try this, and I would just I'd get it started with a hair dryer, and then I'd iron it just to have it the water evaporate faster, and then I would jump in the shower. I'd go through the whole routine. By the time I was done, the shirt would be dry, so it was as good as anything. Like I'd get to the laundry late, and I'm like, oh, I'm going out tonight though, and I only have 1 clean shirt. Throw the stuff in the dryer, and there you go. It worked great. I did use a clothesline for a period of time. Eric, what's happening? Thanks for joining the show. April, I hope so. Some lady tried to sell us a timeshare in dirty Myrtle. I assume that's Myrtle Beach. And so, oh no, they got hurricanes there. Oh, Dan's going on vacation down that area. I hope that everything's fine by that time as well, Dan. Second, Hollis. I'd love to have Hollis. Definitely need Trey and Jamie. Jamie's my boy, but I don't know if that would be smiled upon by his establishment. Mark, Mally saying, Mark, we need a nostalgia show. Bring back 700 level for one episode. So I don't own the title, unfortunately, but maybe I could get sued twice and call it like the 700 club level show. 700 level club, 700 club, 700 level club. Maybe that'll work. Maybe that's what we'll go with there. That was some of the most fun I've ever had in the business is when I was doing that show. I actually just met up with my former producer from that show, the producer director, and one of our editors, one of our other producers on that show. Just met up with them for drinks like 2 weeks ago. I'm still really close friends with all those guys. Love those guys. Dillard is the Eagles' Andrew Bynum. I get it. Except I don't know. I've actually seen Andrew Bynum do stuff in the NBA that goes, wow, he's a really good player. I have never seen that from Andre Dillard. Who's higher, Farzy or a plane? Come on. How do I look? Okay, I'll tell you why I look roasted. If I do look roasted right now, I'll tell you why. It's because for whatever reason, like I actually went to bed at a decent hour last night at like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, because like Phillies weren't playing. And I was like, I'm going to get myself at least 5 hours of sleep. And I went to bed at like 10. I woke up at 1 and I was wide awake. So I've been up since 1 o'clock. And that's just, I don't know. It's just how it worked for me. This sleep is weird. Hard to just other people chiming in. Appreciate it. Trying to follow. Mark with hair and a handlebar mustache. Yeah, good times. Thanks to everyone that checked in on our social media check-in, brought to you by Steak and Maine and steakandmaine.com. Much appreciated. Always appreciate the going back and forth with you guys. It's always a good time. Let's get into our morning rush, brought to you by Sky Motorcars and skymotorcars.com. Phillies Ranger Suarez on the hill today, 7:05 start time as they return home from their long road trip. Hopefully they get the ball rolling again in the right direction, picking up with some momentum after taking 2 of 3 from the Padres. Let's hope that keeps on going against a team like the Rays. Pretty damn good baseball team. I think we all get that. Drew Rasmussen goes for them. I believe it's only his 4th start on the season, so we'll see how all that goes out. I wanted to highlight this because we just talked about Andrew Bynum. This comes by way of The Athletic, and I saw this first on Bleeding Green Nation. But The Athletic, and I'm seeing if I can pull this up so I can read it for you. The Athletic has ranked the remaining 83 members of the roster for the Philadelphia Eagles. The remaining 83 members of the roster. And here's what you got. Andre Dillard, a first-round pick from just 2 seasons ago, is the last ranked Philadelphia Eagle. Andre Dillard came ranked in 83 out of 83. Bo Wolf doing a great job doing all this stuff. Bo does a great job for The Athletic. Dillard returned to practice Sunday, was limited participant after missing over a week with a knee injury. Even before the injury, Dillard struggled on a near daily basis while Mailata flourished. This has been a great disappointment. A great disappointment. I can't believe how much this has been a disappointment for Andre Dillard. Think about this. Play football your whole life, get drafted in the first round. Jordan Mailata does not play football at all until he's drafted to the NFL based solely on potential and athleticism. Jordan Mailata, a much better football player already. I always joked about the 2018 draft, where they only had, I think, 5 draft picks. They had 5 draft picks. Avonte Maddox, good pick. Dallas Goedert, great pick. And they only took 4 football players out of 5 picks because Jordan Mailata was not a football player. And he has already worked his ass off for the starting left tackle position on this team. And Jordan Mailata deserves all the praise in the world. Andre Dillard, just a deer in headlights a lot of times whenever you would see him. So it's an odd thing there. The Athletic doing those numbers right there. Hat tip to Bleeding Green Nation. I saw that. How about this? National Signing Day is always a big deal. And whenever players try to announce where they're going to be going from high school to college, their commitment, it's always a nice thing to have the player announce that on national TV. It's always a nice thing. Local TV stations will go out there if he's a big prospect. Well, how about this prospect, Jaleel Tucker? If you haven't seen this yet, hey, Dad, the general rule here is to let the kid do the announcing. Don't preempt the kid. Don't jump the gun, if you will. Dad was interviewed before the kid, and Dad just couldn't help himself. Take a look.
I'm happy. I'm happy for him. He's a good kid. Lazy, but he's a good kid. And I know he's going to represent Oregon well. What did you say? All right. We're gonna do it. All right. Don't worry, let's go. Have the decision. Tell us who it's gonna be.
For the next couple of years, I'll be attending the University of Oregon.
What the hell, Dad? Come on! Dad! The big moment! I would totally do that. I'll tell you right now, if late and there's anything like that, just keep all microphones away from me. Just, first off, it's her moment. I'll be in the background just being all proud and stuff, and I'll have food ready for media that comes out, but that'll be about it. Yeah, Dad, you gotta keep a bow on that one. Eagles start their joint practice sessions today with the New York Jets. Hopefully all goes well. Hopefully everybody stays healthy. And by the time Friday rolls around, we'll all be feeling a lot better. Friday night rolls around, we'll all be feeling a lot better about the Eagles. And hopefully we'll get a chance to see Jalen Hurts play as well in that game. We'll continue to follow that, of course, throughout the day. We'll talk about it tomorrow on tomorrow's program. And also, hopefully let's talk about another Phillies victory. Let's keep that going. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, everybody. Jim Hyden produced the program. Much appreciated, Jim. This is a Buzz Sports and Entertainment production. My name is Marc Farzetta. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Take it easy. Bye.